Hello, my dear students. Today, we will see input-output devices which are connected to the machine. In last class, we have seen Van Neumann concept. Van Neumann concept means programs or the instruction to be executed are stored inside the memory, and those are executed whenever you want. You bring that program and execute it and display the output. This is what we have seen. This is in a stored program concept. And also we have seen the evolution of computers from 1940s year onwards and till today what is the technology. Of course, it is very difficult to explain everything in 30-40 minutes. However, we have just seen the major development which are happened in the world related to computer science. Today, we will now go little more details about I/O devices. These I/O devices, you would have seen all these I/O devices, one or the other cases through in your life. For example, when we call computer, obviously the keyboard will be there. When we call computer, there will be a monitor, there will be a mouse. These are the three things which you would have seen as an input-output device. Any input device which gives input to the machine. Input could be program. You are giving a program through the input mode, or you may be giving data to the machine. For example, even for our device as a human system, we have a lot of input-output devices. Say for example, my hand is used as both. It can pick up and it can give something. It can write. It works as an output device. We can pick up certain things. This works as an input device. Say for example, my eyes only captures. It doesn't deliver anything. Maybe it gives us some expression. You are angry, you are weeping, something like that. But it is only based on the looking at the eyes. Basically, eyes are used to capture images, videos. Your ears are basically to receive. It is only to receive something from external source and give it to the brain. So therefore, this becomes an input device. Eyes becomes input device. Whereas for example, mouth I am using it as an output device because I am keep on talking like that actually. With respect to data, this mouth becomes output device. Like that, when you look at computers also all computers have input-output devices. These are very essential because through these devices only you are interacting with the human machine. Human and machine interaction happens through this. Human communicates to the computer through these I/O devices. So therefore, I/O devices play a major role. What is being processed in the machine is given as an output in the form of some images in the display unit. You are giving input to this, you are giving fingerprint, or you are giving your image, you are giving your text, you are using the mouse to click something. So therefore, all these things are given as a human interface. It works as an intermediary between the user who uses the computer and the real processor. So therefore, I/O devices play a major role while doing communication. But not all devices are connected at a time. Depending on the requirement, the I/O devices change. But monitor, the display unit, you call it a television kind of thing, and keyboard and mouse, these are the three usual I/O devices which are there. For example, keyboard is basically an input device. Mouse is basically an input device. And display unit like this is basically an output device. So these are the two input and output. One output, we are using it as a common I/O devices. Some cases we use, say for example, to deliver this video lecture, I am using this camera. This camera works as an input device, but it is not connected all the time. Whereas in your laptop, a camera is kept on the top of the screen. So that becomes a permanent fixture in laptops. Like this, not all devices we are now studying, they have all been connected all the time depending on the requirement. Once this video lecture got over, I disconnect this camera. It won't be there as a permanent connection all the time. Whereas keyboard, mouse, monitors, they become always the regular I/O devices which you will be using in a daily life. Okay. In today's session, we will see some of the input output devices which are very, very popular. Like we have in input devices, these are the kinds of input devices you will be seeing it. Say for example, you have seen mouse, light pen, scanners, trackball, touchbar, keyboard, joystick, microphone, digital camera. So these are some of the devices which are there as an input device. But don't restrict yourself only to this. There are many other kind of input devices. For example, you go to the petrol bunk. In petrol bunk, you will be, there will be a gun that delivers the output. So there will be a sensor that senses that, and that is given as an input to that. These are not listed over here. So therefore, I/O devices could be any sort of sensors which are being sensed, and the input has been given. So popular things are only shown over here, but exceptionally, depending on the application that you are using it, I have given example of petrol bunk, wherein which how much of petrol has been given to the petrol tank. It is being calculated, and there will be a sensor. Based on that, there will be a meter. That meter just gives you the bill. So there is a communication that is there actually. Like this, there is a Bluetooth communication that is there. So they are all not regularly being used. They are being used on a specific requirement, like that actually. So there are plenty of other other I/O devices that you can see this thing, and very popular is actually keyboard as one of the input device. Okay. Now we will see ourselves with, first of all, restrict our learning towards input devices. Input devices can be classified into five categories. One is keyboard, very popular, very essential, because all your inputs are given through this. So keyboard you would have seen. The another category of input devices called as a pointers. I mean, they are basically used as a pointers to point onto something onto this screen. Say for example, I would like to use this mouse to click on this, maybe on input device. So therefore, I am using this mouse to just point something on the display unit. So that is, it is a synchronization between monitor and the keyboard, or monitor and the mouse. So therefore, we have three popular pointing devices like a mouse, trackball, and trackball kind of things, I mean touch sense kind of thing. Then we have here handheld devices. We have some handheld devices like a pen. Stylish pen will be there. You would have seen this in some mobiles also, it comes. Touch screen also another kind of handheld device, wherein which through this actually you can also give inputs. So in most of the laptops it comes. Also you have a joystick. By using the joystick, you can also give input to the machine. We also have some input devices which are connected to capture based on the light being passed on certain specific codes like barcodes. So you have your barcode scanner. So barcode reading devices are also there. We also have a scanner. Scanner basically works on the principles of putting light on this and scan bit by bit, scan the entire area. So A4 size sheets are being scanned by using scanner machines. You would have seen actually in our institute, even in VTU also, all valuation, whatever the student write in the examination, it is all being scanned in so faster way, and all valuators sitting at different places, they do the valuation based on what is that you have written. No physical paper is been shown to the examiner. Only what you have written, that is scanned and it has been given, converted to PDF, and that has been shown. So therefore, a scanner is most popularly used device which converts your text which is there in the form of printed thing or handwritten thing, converted into digital mode. Also we have here OCRs. OCRs are also there. They are basically to convert what is being written in the form of text, optical character recognition. You will be writing this by using the hand, and that has been captured, and it is converted into ASCII in a digital form. So we have here OMR sheets. So you would have seen, being student, you would have seen actually for constitution subject, for English subject, for environmental subject, you will be writing, objective, type of questions. So you will be taking the answer as A or B or C, multiple choice questions. So you will be taking for question number 1, answer as B. So therefore, no need of, doing this, scan this entire OMR sheet and give the result. So that's another kind of input device that you'll be giving. Also we have micro, MICRs are also available. These are some of the devices which are based on the optical, sensing by using the lights. Also apart from this, you have audio devices, and of course visual display, things can also be given as a input to the machine. So audio, let's say for example microphones. So microphones can be given as considered as a one of the major input device. And also for example the camera, that now what is being recorded as this lecture is given as an input to the machine, and so that can be stored or this can be processed or whatever it is. So therefore, basically, see for example, please take this in this way. As a human being, a person is having only brain is not sufficient. You need to move around, for that you have legs. You need to have hands, works for all kind of operations. And you have your eyes, ears, mouth, your skin, they are all working as IO devices. So how much temperature is there can be sensed by your skin. So therefore, this is one of the sensors which is being given input to the machine, to the processor. So therefore, as like human system, IO devices are there to do communicating to the brain, and also from brain to communicate to the external world. So IO devices are very much essential. So first we have seen different kinds of IO devices. Two very popular devices we have seen, mouse and keyboard. Okay. We will see the pointing devices as one of the thing. So one of the popular pointing devices, mouse, very much essential. You need to scroll down or scroll up, and also pointing something specific icons on the screen by using this mouse. How does this mouse communicates? Mouse basically converts your movement of hand. So you will be moving this mouse. If you just keep the mouse, it doesn't operate by itself. So you have to move this mouse. So either you are moving to the left or to the right, or you are moving up or down. There is a sensor which is there at the back side of the mouse. This sensor, earlier they used to have a ball, now it is based on the optics. Now there is an optic sensor. So this really produces the light and gets back the light, and when you move the mouse either to the left or to the right side, how much position you have moved, right? I am trying to sense from this end of the monitor to this end of the monitor is so much. So the mouse is being moved, how much, for every movement, how much distance to be computed, it is internally calculated, and the mouse movement is based on the sense you are moving this mouse either to the left side or to the right side or to the up or down. Apart from this, it is not only moving of the mouse. So there are two buttons which are given on the top left side and the right side. It works just like your keyboard. So when in the keyboard you will be pressing lot of buttons. In a very similar way, there are two buttons which are being given there here, which are given here to help to press click button, escape button, whatever it is, depending on the type of mouse that you are using. Also you have a one scrolling button actually in the top actually, which helps you very similar to the bottom one. Instead of not moving the mouse actually, you can also scroll up or down by using this. There's a scroller which is being kept over here. So based on this, you will be moving this. Ultimately, what human intended to do, or what human intended to communicate to the processor, is trying to do action by using his hand. This hand movement is converted into signals, and these signals are given to the processor to work accordingly. So this is one of the principles in most of the devices, and of course with the mouse also. Okay. Next, we will see the trackballs. Earlier these used to be there in some of the input devices. You have a trackball actually, instead of not moving this mouse, you can use this trackball keeping this one fixed. So this is fixed. So you have a left and right button and you can just move this trackball here. So this trackball can also be used in some of the laptops also. This kind of trackball will also be used as an input. So basically it is on a movement of this ball or movement of this mouse. You have also a touchpad you would have seen in most of the laptops, which actually there is a sensor here. So based on your either you are moving left side or to the right side like this, depending on that there is a sensor which are kept. So depending on the kind of movement that you have made on this touch screen, right. So this will be considered as the movement you need to make it on the screen. And of course there are two buttons which are being there, they are very similar to the keyboard. So they just do it. Even in the keyboard also, so there is a layout. Every key has got a different code based on which code you have pressed, which key you have pressed. Let's take this example, take this case. So if you really look at the key, there is a sensor over here. So there, for example, if you press specific key here, say for example here there is a enter button. Here there is a U button U. When you press this button U, so this gets activated and sends signal to this. So which particular key has been pressed, so that is communicated. So there is a wire communication between keyboard to the machine, so that takes which key that you have pressed. For every key there is a specific code. This is called as, there is a understanding in the whole world, this is called ASCII code. This whatever you press, that gets converted into ASCII code, and that ASCII code will go to the machine. This is universally acceptable. All over the world, what is the code in India? It is same code in America, it is same code in Britain. So this ASCII code is a standard code, so that code communication will happen. Say for example, user is intended to press this enter button, user is intended to press button called T. So T means there is a specific ASCII code, that code will go from this to this. So therefore, when you type this so fast, so many codes will go from keyboard to the processor, and they are all collected, and so, the processing will happen based on the what inputs that you are given. So therefore, communication is there between input device to this. So we have seen pointing device mouse, and we have seen trackball, we have seen touchpad, and we have seen handheld devices. Some of the handheld devices are, they will be using this both the hands to do the operation. So maybe for example, you have seen this in your video playing. So you have your joystick, you just hold it. Of course, operation on this remains as like I explained earlier. So you have here some buttons and you have some track balls. So this is similar to keyboard. So we have here some buttons which are there. Similarly, you have this joystick, you can just move either to the left or to the right. So based on the movement. Say for example, you would have seen there is a big road roller, or there is a big JCB kind of machine which is there. So that needs to be operated not by using by using some sort of manual mechanism. Instead of that, you can use a joystick. So either you move to the left or to the right, up, down, like this. Depending on that, the holder of the JCB should move accordingly. So for that kind of thing, actually you cannot just use a small mouse there. So instead of that, they use joystick kind of devices. All right. Okay. So we have seen this. Actually, also we have seen some of the other devices, like I told you, was the stylus or the where in which you will be writing by hand by using this pens. These marking you are making it on the area that is been decided, so that input will be taken. Either this gets converted to ASCII code, or the input whatever that you are intending to do, so that can also be given as an input. All right. Okay. So we also have a touch screen. You would have seen all this touch screen in your mobiles. So these are touch screens which based on the movement that you are making on the hand and how much pressure you have given on the touch screen. So based on the pressure that you have pressed, so that is sensed. You can look at this actually. The pressure is being considered here as the sensor, and so that is considered as an input. Otherwise, it will be just a movement, something like this. You would have seen this actually, you will be moving it like this. And based on the pressure that you are giving this on a specific area, so that is considered as a clicking, something like that. Okay. So this is the input device from the pointing kind of devices. We also have optical devices, I have told you, based on the light that you are passing on to the object and getting this like a scanner, something like that. So we have a barcode scanner, you would have seen in most of the malls. So you have a barcode scanner which light is being passed on to this and gets back the code. Wherever there is a black spot, the light will not come because the black absorbs the light. Wherever there is a white area, so light reflected back. So how much it is reflected back and in which are the area light is not reflected, and a black and white. Basically it's a black and white combination. So you can see from this barcode, here in this area the light will not be reflected. Here in this area, wherever there is a white area, the light get reflected. So therefore specific barcode is being considered, and that is being scanned, and depending on the amount of light being reflected back, the code will be converted. So this is in the barcode scanner. Similarly, you have your image scanner, you would have seen. So the scanner will be there. Here you will be putting one. Most of the Xerox machines you can consider. All Xerox machines principally works on the basis of this. I have already told you about the VTU examination. Entire your examination papers are being scanned. In our institute, we have 2 fast scanners which can scan around 100 pages in 1 minute. In 1 minute, 100 pages will be scanned, and entire thing, even a small dot that you have written in your answer book, will be scanned very clearly, and invigilator or the examiners would be able to read that so easily. So we have here optical character recognition. I told you this is basically to read the characters which are being printed. Say for example, you have here there is a running text which is being printed over here. I would like to read what is being read. So for example, in your Google Lens which basically works on this OCR mechanism. Similarly, you have handwritten character recognitions are also possible. Say for example, some old documents, some 10-year-old document which is written there by hands by somebody. Then you scan it, recognize which language it is, then try to convert that handwritten script into computer readable ASCII format text. So this is the principles which are being used in OCR. We have here optical mark OMR sheet. I think you can understand now. We have in our institute also we have OMR sheets, and there is a software for this. For some of the objective type of question examinations like constitution subject, English subject, environmental subject. In those subjects, you will be marking ABCDs for any specific question. So based on that, actually these markings are being scanned by using this OMR recognizers. And of course, there will be a software this thing. Apart from that, actually you have your magnetic ink character reader. I mean, some of the checks will be read by this actually in most of the banks. You also have audio visual input devices which gives, say for example, mixers which are being given as one of the input device. Through this actually you will be setting up the different settings of the audio devices. Say for example, you have your speakers kind of thing, microphone setting can also be considered as one of the things. You also have video devices which are basically 90% of the input in today's context, they are all coming through this video cameras, video input devices. So you have your video input devices, basically this converts the specific area seen in 3-dimensional data is converted into 2-dimensional, and so that 2-dimensional data is given as an input to the processor. Say for example, now with this camera you are capturing the scene. This is basically 3-dimensional data. This 3-dimensional data is converted in the camera, converted into 2-dimensional, and that is being displayed in one of the output device. So therefore, this camera basically converts video or in the images, converts 3-dimensional into 2-dimensional space like that. So you have here recording and retrieving audio data will also be there. Let's now move. We have seen some of the, I told you, I have just given only some of the input devices, but I have not listed all the input devices. Very popular devices are being shown, but they are not restricted only to this. Plenty of input devices are possible actually. You can just connect it. If you just go to hospital actually, lot of devices they use, they are all sensors. They are all sensors, and by using that, they try to, get the data and do the processing. So that is also a kind of input device. When you go to, clinic, they will touch here, and based on the temperature which are being read from the skin, when they touch it, so that is being read by one device, and that gives input to the one of the software written for health services. It means that becomes an input device. So I have not listed all, very popular are being shown over here. We have an output device like that. We have output device. Basically output devices, we have here soft output devices and hard output devices. It means you are now displaying this only for visualization, only for the visualization. So that is called as a soft kind of thing. Say for example, output which are coming through the YouTube, you are seeing it and that is being displayed there. But some of the things are being printed. You need to have a copy of this. Say for example, output that you are printing this by using one printer. So that becomes an hard copy kind of thing actually. And nowadays it is all getting eliminated anyway. But more or less we have a soft kind of thing. But still at least some 50 to 60% of the printing happens through this hard copy mechanism. So therefore output devices can be soft device or maybe hard device. But soft itself actually you have your monitor which are very popular. You can just use this actually. This is following a scan kind of mechanism. This is called a raster scanning. We will see that in the subsequent classes. We have a raster scanning mechanism being followed in monitors. Then we have your projectors and speakers. These are the three popular output devices, but not necessarily. Output devices could be which are much more than that actually. Say for example, you have your, you just go to hospital when everything, and the surgery gets completed, you will click. So therefore the door of the operation theater gets opened after he completes the operation, he presses this, the operation is gets over. So therefore that is an output being passed to the door to open it. Say for example, you just go to some of the shops wherein which you show your card, so the door gets opened. So that becomes an output device. So based on the signal that you are giving, some action will happen. So that is an output device. So therefore output device not restricted only to this. It could be multiple like that. Okay. Now we will see each one of them quickly. So you have here different kinds of monitors. Of course, you can call this as an evolution only. You have your CRT tubes, LCD tubes, LED tubes, and plasma display unit kind of. These are the evolutions which are happened in monitor. So we either the monitor itself actually can be monochrome, black and white. Nowadays nobody uses this, or on a 256 scale basis. This is called a gray scale. Just like your photograph, you are getting this printed. This is called a gray scale, and colored. 99.9% now it is all colored. These two are all becoming absolute nowadays. But people used to have this earlier, right? So we have here CRT monitors. These are also these have become absolute nowadays. Nobody uses this. You have your CRT monitors. Of course, working of CRT monitor. Of course, no need of knowing this. It used to be like there is a display unit there. Electron beam will being passed through this, and there is an heater basically generates heat, and based on that actually the electrons are being passed and made to hit on the surface. So depending on the amount of electrons hit on the surface area, so light is being projected, and so output used to come there. But later it becomes a LCD monitor, liquid crystal display, right? So then they used to have a kind of mechanism for this. Each of these points are tiny display units. So each one of them will be addressed separately, So that's why you are able to get the beautiful screens like this actually. So let us not go into detail, but you should know that actually it has got lot of technology by itself. All right. Okay. So we have here after that actually the plasma. Basically, it is on a plasma in the form of a liquid. It is there on the output. So like this actually there will be different colored liquid will be there. So based on the amount of light that is being hit on this, it distracts, and that light considered as a light. Say for example, now what is being seen here to make this specific area white. So the white light is being made to there, and the specific plasma will be making the distraction of the lights like that. Okay. So of course you would have seen the projectors in most of the classrooms. So projectors are also being used as one of the output device. So apart from this, you have speakers which are very popular. Of course, it generates audio for listening to the sound. Then we also have these are some of the soft kind of thing actually. I mean, you cannot just see it, you cannot just hold it, you cannot have a memory of this. Whereas when you take a printout, it becomes a memory, it becomes a permanent memory, right? So that permanent memory can be made by using this hard copy devices. So you have your printers which are very popular. HP is one of the leading company which produces these kind of things. So we have your printer itself actually you have very kind of thing. So we have dot matrix printer, daisy wheel printer, line printer, inkjet printer, laser printer, etc. and all. Okay. So we have here dot matrix printers nowadays not much being used in this some old banks they use. So daisy wheel printers are also become absolute nowadays. You have your line printer which prints line by line at a time, right? So then we have your band printers which prints in a very small in a small strip, something like that. Inkjet printers are also there actually, where in which 3 colored inks are being put as an input thing, and amount of just like how you write it by using the pen. Instead of writing in one pen, actually I am trying to write with 3 pens. So which pen should press which amount of color to be put onto the specific area decided by you, RGB, red, green, blue. So you will be basically keeping 3 colored in case of inkjet printer. So that's why it's called ink. So color ink parts are being kept inside. So laser printers are very popular. You can see most of the printing which happens is on the laser printers, right? Basically it puts the specific color on the spot. This is by using laser printers. Also we have here plotters. Plotters are basically used specifically for plotters are basically used for writing drawings, especially civil drawings. They use these plotters. And also we have a drum plotters. Of course it is on a large scale. So these are some of the IO devices. You will be seeing it in the life of computer science. As I told in the beginning, I have listed only some few IO devices, but they are not restricted only to this. Input output, plenty, every device which are there. In Mysore itself actually we have lot of companies, they manufacture a lot of output devices coming as the input coming from the processor, and something display will happen. So therefore you can see wonders of output devices. Say for example, your drone itself can be considered as an output device. Drone, because you are controlling the drone through some specific processor. So therefore drone is another kind of thing. So hundreds of thousands of IO devices are possible. We will see some of them being used in the laboratories. Some of them are being shown only as a as a reference material, and we will see it in the next class. We will just now jump on to programming. So the first set of classes are only for knowing about Van Neumann concept, evolution, and different IO devices. Now we will move on to programming language, specifically C. But in the next class, I will be explaining about what exactly programming language means. What are the different kinds of programs that you can write?